Back inside the Pirate Radio Zoom room, brought to you by Sailor Warehouse, your local U.S. Sailor authorized agent. Call Toby Williams and his team today at 252-799-7051. Also, discover a new wave of refreshment with White Claw Hard Seltzer. Nothing tastes quite like it. Proudly distributed by Coastal Beverage Company. Joining us today, a familiar face for the folks here in Eastern North Carolina. Sadly, she has left us to head up north, but she is Ariel Epstein, formerly of WCTI Channel 12, doing some really cool stuff right now that we'll talk about. Ariel, good to see you. How you doing?
Cliff, I missed you. I got so used for 3 years to seeing your face at least once a week at trivia night.
That's right. Had a lot. And look, you kids grow up so fast. I'm here, and I see you number 2 sports anchors come through. But you had a great trio with yourself, Maskovich, Alex Walker. That was a trio for the ages right there, Ariel.
It was the best. We still keep in touch. We actually have a Snapchat group named after you. So you're pretty iconic yourself. It was funny that you said moved up north, too. I thought you were definitely going to parlay in there a Brian North reference, but you missed your chance.
From north to north. I did miss that. You're right. Ariel, let's talk about what you're doing now. First of all, you said that you didn't have your cool background going because I guess you left and the hurricane followed you up north. We got it here. You got it where you are as well, and it blacked you out, right?
I really thought I was being funny. I was watching the hurricane coverage, and on the Weather Channel, I kept seeing Greenville and New Bern, North Carolina pop up. I said, oh, poor New Bern, poor Greenville, poor Kinston. Kinston's going to get crushed. I feel so bad. And then I saw New York doing hurricane coverage, and I said, why is New York News doing hurricane coverage? We're fine here. We're not going to get any of this. Sure enough, the next day, gone. No power. All yesterday. We don't even have cell service. I have to come to my mom's office today. You can't see it, but I have my webcam, my lights, everything but the green screen here that I had to ship up from my house. It was horrible. What a morning. But I'm alive.
I don't hear
it's
it
2020.
I don't hear it a lot, but when you are agitated, that accent really comes out. It's
The
like
New
I just
York
saw
one.
my cousin Vinny recently. It's very Marissa Tomei.
I understand. It's come out more now that I've been home for a year than it did when I was in North Carolina. I also hear it a lot more too. There'll be things I say, and I just have an ear for it now. I say, oh, I sounded like a New Yorker there.
Ariel, tell everybody what you're doing now. I follow you on Twitter, and you are constantly putting out videos, still in sports, but gambling content, which is a lot of fun and which I really enjoy. So tell everybody what you're doing now.
I work for a company called SportsGrid. We're a sports gambling network, 24/7 coverage of sports gambling all the time. A little fantasy sports sprinkled in as well. We cover all the major sports. I host a morning show from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern time, where we really just go through everything. The thing that's fun about the morning show is we get to see how the lines start the night before, where they open at. We watch how they flip overnight. Then I can, on social media, follow through with them around 4 or 5 o'clock before the night games start. Now that we've had this restart of all the sports too, we're getting hockey at 12 o'clock, the NBA at 1:30.
Yeah.
It's really fun to essentially be a pregame show. MLS's back tournament, we had 9 a.m. games. The start of a soccer game was at the start of our show. It was essentially in-game betting for 2 hours. It was awesome. And we also partnered recently with FanDuel Sportsbook. We're sponsored now on our show The Morning After on SportsGrid by the FanDuel Sportsbook. We have on the director of trading from the Sportsbook every Monday morning, John Sheeran. He tells us how each sport did based on handle over the weekends. In the last few weeks, it's been really awesome having him on. He's told us last week the NBA did better than all the major sports. He said golf has been a huge winning point for betting at the FanDuel Sportsbook since golf started. So I think it's really cool to get the insight. And we also are tracking how betting's just doing as a whole. I mean, Colorado launched its mobile wagering right when the coronavirus hit. Table tennis was the top sport that was being bet on during the coronavirus.
I may or may not have played a little bit of that, I will say.
Really?
Yeah, sure. Live betting table tennis is as bad as it gets, folks. It really is.
It's really interesting. We didn't get too into depth with table tennis, but I dove into NASCAR. My co-host is really into really random soccer leagues. I'm not talking about MLS or Premier League. I'm talking Serie B Serie B soccer. Unbelievable. I couldn't be more thankful. We were doing segments for 12 minutes on soccer leagues I've never heard of. I was so ready for sports to come back, so thank goodness that they're here.
I was thinking about this week with so much back, Ariel, and you talk to people who give you plays, give you leans. You yourself make picks as well. What is your favorite sport to throw a few peanuts on? Because like hockey, it's so intense. Anything could happen any moment. Basketball totals are wild. They can change so quickly. With baseball, you can relax a little bit during the game. Soccer, kind of the same thing. Golf, you mentioned we got a major coming up. Do you have a particular favorite you like to sit and watch that you've maybe put a little bit on?
I've been loving betting baseball. It's all about bias too. It's where you feel the strongest. Baseball and football have always been my strongest sports. I've actually loved NASCAR too. That's been the sport that I've been able to find more of an edge in. I would say NASCAR and baseball have been my two best sports so far. NBA right now is really unpredictable. You don't know who's playing how many minutes. LeBron James and Anthony Davis could have played the 20 or 30 minutes they've played in the last 3 games. Tonight they could play 15. Who knows? Oklahoma City is the best team against the spread in all of the NBA. Maybe they cover tonight because the Lakers only play their starters half a game. I think until we hit the NBA playoffs.
The playoffs, are you waiting for that to begin?
I bet the first 2 nights I bet. Afterwards, especially for the top teams, the Lakers, the Clippers, the Bucks, I think I'm laying off. Look what just happened yesterday. The Nets just upset the Bucks. Yeah. They were plus 1,200 on the money line. The Nets, with the biggest upset, essentially. Very few teams have been dogs by 18 points in the NBA in the last few years. So I lay off those teams. Maybe a team like Portland, a team like the Pelicans, teams that need to win because the Memphis Grizzlies are still winless in the restart and they could lose the 8th seed to one of those teams. Even the Spurs could come out. So those are the teams I'd look to. But at least Major League Baseball in the last couple of weeks, I don't want to say is reliable because of the coronavirus, but if you have the team that actually plays, the only problem with baseball has really been pitching. Is a pitcher in, is a pitcher out? But on the FanDuel Sportsbook, at least, you can pick the option. There's action, and then there's 2 pitching options. So you can hit the drag down button, and you can pick, like, let's say today the Mets have Porcello against the Nationals, which is Max Scherzer. You could hit the drop down button, and instead of action, which means the bet's live no matter who pitches, you can pick Max Scherzer and say, I want the Nats as long as Max Scherzer's pitching. That's essentially what you can do to save yourself. So I love baseball, but then NASCAR, honestly, Clip, NASCAR drivers are pretty reliable. If Martin Truex Jr. races well at a track, he's going to race well at that track again. We saw it this week in New Hampshire. He was 30th, I think, at one point, or 28th, worked his way back up to the top 5. So I think that NASCAR has been pretty predictable. The only thing is, obviously, we had a couple of those races with, like, Cole Custer winning, which you can't foresee. Yet, if you pick those top 3s, the top 10s, the matchup bets, people love those matchup bets for making a lot of profit, too.
I've really enjoyed getting into NASCAR. It helped us get through to these ball sports, so to speak, the puck sports. So a doubleheader this weekend, Ariel, before we let you go. Do you have a drive? I don't know if the odds are out yet for NASCAR, but do you have a driver or two you're keeping an eye on Saturday and Sunday?
Ooh, let me check. I doubt that FanDuel has any lines. Oh, Firekeepers Casino 400. Denny Hamlin, currently the favorite. Joey Logano, and then Brad Keselowski. The odds are really short, actually. I keep fading Kyle Busch because until Kyle Busch proves to me that he could finish a race, I'm out. I don't care if he wins a race and I don't bet on him. I think for now, it's been the best thing ever to fade him. Last week, Kyle Busch was someone everyone said, oh, I like Kyle Busch. I like Kyle Busch. Yeah, he runs well here. Yeah, there you go. He crashes. He's out early. And
you can probably get some good – you can get good plus money, I would think, on matchups with Kyle Busch, fading him. and taking the other side.
FanDuel is the book that we always use on our show. They don't really do much matchups. You'd have to look at like a DraftKings. They do a lot of matchup bets. But I would say too, like Ryan Blaney, he's always someone I throw some money on every week. He's bound to come out strong at some point. He's been struggling a little bit lately, but I think that Blaney is just closing in on a win somewhere. And I'd say the biggest disappointment for me lately has been Kevin Harvick, because I've been betting him each week and I keep thinking I can't fade him, yet there he's been blowing it recently. But yeah, I would say if you want a long shot and a little bit of a better payout, then Ryan Blaney 13-1 right now in the FanDuel Sportsbook is where I see the value so far.
Ariel, we got to get you on Pirate Radio Live so we can talk about everything going on that day in the world of sports. This is kind of a big picture. We'll get to a smaller picture when we get you on the radio show, but wanted to catch up with you. It's awesome you're doing so well. Hopefully you'll get power back soon, and we'll keep following you on social media. You do a great job. And look, people ask me, like, how do you keep up with everything? I kind of know a little bit about a lot of stuff. You got to keep up with who's starting, as you said, who's out, who's injured. So you're doing a great job with that, and I really enjoy following you online.
Thanks so much, Clip. I love following you too, and I hope that the unicorn can come out soon.
We need some positive clips pretty soon, right? I think you're right. Ariel, thank you so much. That's Ariel Epstein joining us inside the Zoom room, brought to you by Sailor Warehouse and White Claw Hard Seltzer. We will see you next time.